Alright, so just after the Eagles offense clearly had many issues and completely fell apart at the end of last season, it seems like they're now poised to bounce back in a big way in 2024, as new reports just came out going in depth on the Eagles' new look offense, as they detailed how new offensive coordinator Kellen Moore could completely unlock the passing game, why Jalen Hurts and some of the others could reach the next level in their games in the new offense, and just where Nick Sirianni fits into the whole thing. Plus, it was also just revealed that multiple teams expect Saquon Barkley to transform the Eagles offense and make it almost unstoppable this season. So we're going to talk about all that and more in this video today, and we won't waste any time. Let's get straight into it. So let's start this video off by taking a look at the Eagles who made the CBS Sports Top 100 list, as despite the epic collapse of last year, 6 Eagles players still made the list, with A.J. Brown being the highest ranked Eagle at number 27, then left tackle Jordan Mailata is at 32, right tackle Lane Johnson's at 52, Jalen Hurts is at 53, which is nice to see him still getting some respect with all the criticism that he's got recently, then DeVonta Smith at number 82, and lastly defensive tackle Jalen Carter at number 93. And Carter's inclusion on this list definitely has to be the biggest surprise of all the Eagles players that made it, because he was obviously just a rookie last year, and all the other birds on this list are established guys that have been doing it at a high level for a few years now. But that should just show you how good Carter really is, because despite him being a rookie and falling off towards the end of the season, he still made the CBS Top 100 list in the first year of his career, with writer Pete Prisco writing, quote, "He started the 2023 season as a player who could dominate the minute he stepped onto the field as a rookie, but he tailed off some in the second half, which was a concern. He can be a dominant inside player and one of the best in the game if focused." And this is something that I think all Eagles fans can probably agree with, as if Carter is focused and in shape and just locked in on football, he can definitely be one of the best interior forces in the entire NFL. And personally, I think that Carter is going to have a true breakout season in year 2. I mean, Carter has all the potential in the world, but it's just hard to come in as a rookie and be dominant right away. And honestly, he pretty much was able to do that for the first half of the year, but he just ended up hitting the rookie wall and falling off. But this year, with more time to develop and get adjusted to playing at the NFL level, and also just more time to get in shape, and with a much better defensive coordinator while also taking on a bigger role with the retirement of Fletcher Cox, I expect Carter to have a truly dominant season and truly break out. And this is actually something that I talked about more in depth in my last video, so if you want to go check that out after this video, you can. But getting back to this video though, another guy who I definitely think could have the best year of his career is tight end Dallas Goedert. Now Goedert is already one of the best tight ends in the NFL, and he has been for several seasons, but he really has yet to have a truly dominant season, as he hasn't surpassed 1,000 yards or even made the Pro Bowl yet. But he also has yet to even have a full season as the Eagles' clear-cut tight end number 1 that is fully healthy, as he struggled with some injuries the past few years that have kept him out for stretches of time. So if he can stay healthy, theoretically he should have a better year, possibly a career year, despite being maybe the 4th option or so on the Eagles offense. And writer Jeffrey Knox of Inside the Eagles seems to agree with that, as he included Goedert in a list of 5 Eagles who are primed for a breakout season in 2024, saying, quote, "Dallas Goedert probably won't be the first option in Philly's offensive attack, nor will he be the second. Heck, maybe not even the third. He's long been considered one of the better young tight ends in our game. He does, however, get ignored sometimes, but to never record a 1,000-yard season, nope, he's better than that. This year, we get the Dallas Goedert we've been waiting to see. Let's just hope he can stay healthy." Now, while it may be hard to believe that Goedert can come out here in 2024 and have the best year of his career, even with all the other talented players on the Eagles offense that are obviously going to take up a lot of touches, he at least seems to be confident that he can do that, as he recently spoke with Jeff Nieberg of the Philadelphia Inquirer, where he said, quote, "I'm hoping that all year defenses double AJ, double Smitty, and they're worried about Saquon, so I can run free down the middle all game long. I love being in Philadelphia. I'm going to give them everything I've got and let the chips fall where they may fall. I still feel like the best years are ahead of me." And Goedert does make a good point. I mean, one could make an argument that AJ, Smitty, and Saquon will limit the number of touches that Goedert ends up getting. And while that's probably going to be true to an extent, you could also make the argument that with all the talent around him, that could cause defenses to somewhat forget about Goedert, leaving him wide open much more, and he could definitely capitalize on that. And if that does happen and Goedert stays healthy, obviously, then I do think his best years maybe still could be ahead of him. And that's especially true in new offensive coordinator Kellen Moore's offense, as it seems like Moore is going to be utilizing the tight ends more in better ways than the Birds offense was able to do last year, with Goedert in the same exact interview saying this about Moore, quote, "He's been doing a great job of just making the offense make sense, and we kind of change up the reads and different things like that throughout. I feel like it'll play in favor of the tight end, the quick game a little bit, getting back to the pivots, the sticks that I caught earlier in my career that went away a little bit. I'm really excited for how he uses the tight end and how he feels like they can be a big part of the offense and help win games." So that really sounds great to me, because I really don't feel like the offense last year used Goedert or the tight ends correctly, but it sounds like Moore's going to fix that, and I really do think it'll help improve the offense just as a whole. But what do you guys think? But now, just staying on the topic of Kellen Moore, it really does seem like this is going to be his offense in the 2024 season, as opposed to the past where the Birds may have used mainly Sirianni's offense but a different play caller. And that's not to say that Sirianni's input and offensive ideas have been completely eliminated this year, as we'll get to that a bit later, but just based on everything we've heard this offseason, Kellen Moore is the one who is in charge of the offense, and a recent report gave us some more insight on that, with ESPN's Jeremy Fowler recently saying, quote, Nick Sirianni has really trusted the process, trusted his new veteran play caller Kellen Moore to handle a lot of things. Even though he's an offensive-minded head coach, he's not micromanaging everything, so they're getting to work on it. Now, I know a lot has been made of Nick Sirianni maybe taking a step back from the offense a little bit and just focusing on being more of a managerial style head coach that kind of just oversees everything and spends time with everyone, but at the end of the day, all I care about is that whatever is best for the team is what is being done, and if that's more taking the majority of leadership over the offense, then I like it. And that's not to say that I think Nick needs to stay away from the offense entirely, because in 2022, whether you like Nick or not, you got to admit, he was a huge part of that offense, and they were very, very successful during that season. But with the way things went last year with Brian Johnson and the offense getting stale at the end of the year, it was clear that things just needed to change in a big way, hence Nick stepping back and more taking over the offense. But again, that does not mean that Sirianni's ideas and input over the offense have been fully eliminated, as a lot of the things that Nick and the Eagles have done well on offense over the past 3 years will remain this season, as it's been documented that while the offense is very different than it was last year, it's not completely different, as Sirianni and Moore have meshed their concepts together to create this new Eagles offense, and apparently, quarterback Jalen Hurts has had input on it too, as Fowler went in depth on the blending of Sirianni and Moore's offenses, while also taking into account Jalen Hurts' role in it, saying, quote, I'm told the Eagles have spent a lot of time this offseason taking the old offense, Nick Sirianni's system last year that Jalen Hurts is used to, mixing it with Kellen Moore's principles, put it all in a pot with some gumbo, and seeing what works and what Jalen Hurts is comfortable with. I'm told Hurts has done a good job this offseason of being vocal and taking ownership of the plays he likes, the plays he doesn't. And honestly, I think this is the exact right way to go about things. I mean, on one hand, you can't just throw away all the old stuff because a lot of that has been successful in the past, and it'd just be too much for Jalen and everyone else to have to completely just disregard everything and learn a completely brand new offense. At least that wouldn't be ideal, but at the same time, you brought in Kellen Moore to change things up and just introduce new concepts and offensive strategies, and you want to take advantage of those things. And then you also want to have your franchise QB, the most important player on your team, have a hand in things and be comfortable with the new concepts and ideas. So I love the balance that they found personally, but what do you guys think about how they've gone about installing the new offense? Now, getting back to Hurts though, I really do think there's good reason to believe that he's going to be able to be much better than last year and possibly get back to his 2022 near MVP form or even better, because in Kellen Moore's offense, the receivers are going to be running much more complex route trees, there's going to be a lot more motion, and there will be a lot more answers against the blitz, and all these things overall will just benefit the passing game and in turn Jalen Hurts. But perhaps the thing that could help Jalen the most is the addition of Saquon Barkley, as he's going to take up a lot of attention from defenses as they'll have to load the box up a bit more, which is then in turn going to open up the passing game, on top of the fact that Jalen is obviously a dual threat quarterback, so having Saquon in the backfield as well is going to have to make defenses choose between them. And overall, just having a weapon as talented as Saquon at the running back position is only going to help Jalen and the whole offense. And I actually went more in depth on this in a video last week, but now just over the weekend in Jeremy Fowler's report on the Eagles, he said that NFL teams are pretty much thinking the same thing that I talked about in that video. As Fowler said, quote, the feeling around the league talking to several teams is that Saquon Barkley will make a major impact, maybe even like a Christian McCaffrey to 49ers type impact, because he's never had this sort of supporting cast, this kind of offensive line. He's going to make Jalen Hurts' job a lot easier. And I love the sound of that, because think back to what Christian McCaffrey added to that 49ers offense when he first got there. I mean, he made it pretty much unstoppable, as not only did he open up more opportunities for his teammates, but they also did the same for him. And I think a similar thing is going to happen with Saquon on the Eagles. But what do you guys think? Just how big of an impact will Saquon have on the Eagles offense this year? But now moving on, someone else that is really also going to benefit from Kellen Moore's new offense is DeVonta Smith. As the past couple years, while Smitty has been amazing, there's a really good argument to be made that he hasn't been used quite right, and if utilized fully correctly to where his skill set is being fully taken advantage of, there's reason to believe that he can reach a whole new level. And longtime Eagles reporter Reuben Frank seems to agree with that, as he recently wrote, quote, the numbers and stats don't even begin to tell the story of how dang good DeVonta Smith really is. I expect the passing game to improve significantly under Kellen Moore and Doug Nussmeier in 2024, and Smith should be a big beneficiary of that. And I completely agree with that, because with Smitty's incredible route running ability and shiftiness, just moving him all around the field and putting him in motion and hunting different matchups with him is really going to play to his abilities, and I think in turn, it's going to help his overall production. And I also believe that in a similar way that these things are going to benefit DeVonta Smith, they're also really going to benefit A.J. Brown, who, by the way, has been working extra hard this offseason, as he says he's in the best shape of his life and he's motivated and hungry as ever to accomplish his goals this year. And this is something that I've definitely gone more in depth in on previous videos, but just to reiterate, it's really hard to look at what A.J. has done and said this offseason and not think that he's going to come out and have an incredible year, possibly his best year. And just add that onto everything else that I've talked about in this video, from Saquon's impact to Hurts, Smitty, and Goedert's projected improvement, and more taking over the offense, and it's safe to say that this Eagles offense is going to be near the top of the league and nearly unstoppable in 2024, should everyone play up to their potential and things go to plan. But with that being said, where do you think the Eagles offense is going to rank in 2024? You can let me know your thoughts down in the comments, and also, while you're at it, make sure you subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications for more Eagles content coming just like this in the future throughout the rest of the offseason, heading into training camp, and also the regular season. So again, subscribe and turn on notifications. And also, if you did enjoy this video, make sure you drop a like. I'd greatly appreciate it. It helps me out a ton. And also, if you want to watch another Eagles video, you can check this one out right here. And now with all that being said, that's pretty much all I got for this one, guys. So thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.